You guys definitely want to stick to the end of this video because it's not going to end the way that we planned. G'day legends, welcome back. If you are new around here, I am Doug and this is Jamie. And another welcome to our van build series. Hopefully you have looked at some of the other episodes on the playlist so you get an idea of the layout and what we're doing around here. But today we're focusing on one thing specifically.
And that is our shelves. So these shelves are going to be used for our storage, but it's also going to store our toilet underneath the bottom. So we're going to get out into the garage and get working on that because we really want to get that done today, or I really want to get that done today. He's not so hopeful. So let's see how far we get done with this.
Let's go.
But it's really cold out there, so I think I'm going to need something a little bit more warmer. That's better. Let's go.
Alright guys, we're back in the garage. Now the goal for today is to build these shelves. This is picking up right from where we left off last week. We want to get the framework done and the side paneling done. And once again, these shelves are going to be going right here in the van, which is currently where our battery system is. Again, I want the shelves and the kitchen done so that I can remove all of this shelving that I already have built in for work and then insert the new shelves on the same day so I can go back to work that week. Right, so the next step in the framing process is to continue building the rest of the shelves. The reason that I built the bottom of the box first is because pallet wood isn't long enough for the entire length of the shelf. So I decided I'd build this first and then build off the top of it. If you haven't seen how I'm reusing pallet wood, you might want to go and check out last week's episode because it's going to be very involved with pallet wood today.
So these shelves are going to be used for our storage. So what we're thinking is one box each for our individual things and then one thing for general storage. And then of course the bottom's going to be for the toilet. Now today what we are hoping to accomplish is completing the entire framework. So 3 more of those. And then also doing the side panels. I don't know if that's a little ambitious because it's already 10 a.m. and we haven't even gotten started on anything except for filming. And so we have until sundown because it is friggin' cold right now. And we don't want to be working in the garage when it's cold and dark when we could be in the hot tub next door at his parents' house.
So we only get to do this in our spare time. It's already 10 o'clock on Saturday and we've literally just gotten into the garage to start work. This Saturday morning is election day in Australia, so I had to pop off to go do my vote. Plus I had to run some errands for my family while they're overseas. It's just one of those things where like life gets in the way of building. And to be honest with you, the biggest thing that me and Jamie are going through right now is dividing the filming time between the actual working time. There's only so many hours in the day to do everything. So it's making us like a little bit apprehensive, but we're just gonna have to do the best that we can, yeah? Time to start working, but first... There they are. Jamie! I got you a present.
Orange?
I looked for pink ones, but the building industry is so sexist.
Wow.
I couldn't find any pink headphones.
Wow. Ooh, these are fancy.
Yeah, they're proper ones.
Oh my goodness. They look small.
Well, you've got a small head.
Did you get a size small?
Yeah.
I don't have a small head, Doug.
Look at you. You've got tiny little ears.
Doug.
David.
This is too small. This is like for a child.
They pull down, mate.
What do you mean?
The side. It pulls down to open it up. Come here. Okay, so let's break this down into some quick steps for you guys. Step 1 is that you want to cut and prep your timber. Step 2 is that you want to glue your timber framework together and clamp it. Step 3 is that you want to screw it all off or nail it all off depending on which one you're doing. That way you're going to complete your framework. Then step 4, you want to screw and prep your outer panels that are going to go on the outside of your shelves. Step 5, glue and clamp those outer panels on. Step 6, then go ahead and screw or nail them off depending on which one you're doing. Okay, next up we need 4 timbers at 850. Again, picking up from last week, you might recognize this is the exact same piece of pallet timber that I pulled off. Now, it just so happens that these are just over 850. So I think rather than using the deck of timber that I've already got behind me, I'm actually going to use the 4 pieces of timber strapping that I want directly from the piece of pallet that we took off the road yesterday. This piece, 860, perfect. So we need a couple more of these. This first piece of timber after all that is no good. It has a knot in the timber right there. So this entire length here would be fine to use. And these 3 bits on the end would also be fine to use. But if I use this entire length of the timber for the last 2 pieces, it'll split at the knot. And because we got so much timber off the last pallet, I might as well just pick another piece to use. I've cut the timber into 20 mil strips, which is what I've been using for the framework. That's the same level of timber that I've been using on the framework around the toilets. Now, if you have been watching any pallet videos on YouTube, you'll notice that they have lots of drop saws and plane saws, and if I was a professional carpenter, I'd have all that stuff. But I'm gonna be using a lot of manual tools. You can work with timber with literally a minimal amount of tools. It's harder, but you can do it. So we're going to be going a little bit old school here. Hand saws, chisels, clamps, sanding to get things straight. Takes a little bit longer, but if you don't have the tools, it's no excuse not to do it.
A few moments later.
It's 10:37. Now everything I said to you about manual tools is still valid, but we are rushing, and I mean, I'm not that broke. So we're going to Bunnings to get a power tool.
He has no idea what he's looking for.
You have no idea.
He has no idea.
I decided not to waste the pieces that I measured earlier, so I was using them for my cross braces, and that knot snapped exactly where I thought it would snap. Luckily, this piece where it snapped is the throwaway piece. It's these pieces that I'm using. But there you go. This is amazing. This is, yeah, perfect, like butter.
Woohoo! It's a little short.
A little short. I thought I measured 850.
Back to the drawing
How
board.
am I 850, mate? 870.
What's going on?
I measured off that line instead of that line. So I measured the wrong line.
This is his 3rd time drawing out the lines to cut the wood.
You know what they say, guys? Cut twice, measure once.
What?
The first 2 pieces are 870, but the back pieces were actually a little bit shorter because we're making the top shelf on a slant so that it can fit in on the curvature of the van, which I have here in my little notebook, mate.
I'm basically just focusing on the filming since I'm useless right now.
Do you want to cut this next piece?
Yeah, right, I'll ruin it. You trust me to do it?
Yeah, just gotta hold it very straight and very nice.
Heavy, man. Alright. Why can't I put my hand down? You did it.
Just be aware of where the blade is going to come out on the other end.
What do you mean? The blade's right there. What do you mean?
So where do you want to hold it? You want to hold it here?
Yeah.
Okay, just there. But watch your fingers in the... What was that?
I did it! Did I do it okay?
Yeah, you did great.
Nothing like some working knee pads. I'm a real tradesman now. Check me out. Oh yeah. Show them yours. Oh yeah, we're so cool now. Woo! Alright guys, so it is 2:01 p.m. in the afternoon and we are on to step 2 and 3, which is gluing these pieces together, clamping them together, and then screwing them together so they can secure. So we're using this Gorilla Glue.
Really good stuff.
We're using this Gorilla Glue, and it takes 2 hours to like harden and set.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have some lunch while this is hardening, but let's get into it. So in order to apply this, the wood apparently has to be wet. So we have a soapy bucket of water. I don't know about the soap.
That's 0.5 of a millimeter too thick.
So you made the hole too big?
Yep. Such a good hole too. That was right in the center.
Yep.
Much better.
Alright, it is all glued and clamped and screwed. How are you feeling now that we've got this far?
I'm happy that we've gotten a flow of things going now. Yeah, I think it's time for some lunch though, definitely.
How many steps do we have today?
Oh, this is not getting done today. We might get the framing finished today.
We might get it done.
Maybe.
We might get it done.
The framing.
We might get the whole thing done. We might get the panels on. Come on. Have hope. Have hope. Have hope. But now it's time to eat because I'm getting hungry. We're going to eat something and get back out here as soon as possible because we're going into winter, so that means we don't get a lot of sun. So I think sunset's around 5:45. So we only got a few more hours left of sunlight. So let's get the most of it. So let's have a quick lunch. So we have finished lunch. It is 3:03 p.m. and
We have made one side of the framework.
ta-da!
I know this doesn't look like much, but now you can see how involved cutting and prepping all the timber strats are.
Yeah.
So what we have to continue on doing is gluing up the left-hand side of it and then doing the cross braces, and we'll have finished the framework today. Maybe we'll get the side paneling started.
We will. We definitely will. So we're just going to create the other side exactly like this. Let's get into it because we have 2.5 hours left of sunlight. Nice. It's really coming along.
I'm going to feel much better once the framework's done and we can start putting the side paneling on because that makes it seem, you know...
Like an actual thing that can be used.
Yes, less twiggy and more...
Yeah. These feel a little flimsy.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm worried about. Is just because we are using recycled wood, I'm like, I don't trust it fully.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'll be happy when it's finished because then I'll trust it a little bit more. But right now, I'm nervous. I definitely think I'm gonna have a whole new appreciation for using these shelves once they're in the van, just because of how long it's actually taking, especially since I didn't help build anything in our last setup and we had the shelves already in there. We had everything in there, so I don't know, it's just gonna bring a whole new appreciation to living in this van after we do this whole new setup. All right, guys, we've put it together. It still has to dry, but the screws are all in, and this is the bottom piece for the toilet. Here it is.
Look what we've made!
How you feeling?
Apprehensive.
Why?
I need to tie the thing together now. So we've got to connect the top piece to the bottom piece and get it level enough to put the framing on the outside.
What are you nervous about though?
I don't know, just that it's like all this, like a day's work is not going to be right somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just you know what I mean? Like now that I've put in this much effort and it's like half finished, it makes me nervous because I want it to be good. So you can see here that tying in the front, tying in the sides where we run our MDF board or our skirting up the sides in the front is going to work out. I don't know what happened, but on the back here, this back corner is out. Dearest YouTube, I regret to inform you that today has been a waste of your and my time.
Especially mine. Because I've been filming it all.
What we have learnt in the epic fail of today is the right way to do it next week.
So basically, we should have built the frame off of this piece, since this is like the base, instead of building it standalone and then trying to attach it so that we could get everything the exact length. Because we are working with recycled wood, it's all wonky and it's just not straight, and we knew that and we thought we were accounting for it. Well, he thought he was accounting for it, and it's just not lining up and it's off, and we literally have to do this whole day all over again and start from scratch.
I thought I was being clever by measuring all my pieces to be exactly 20 millimeters wide and 20 millimeters thick, and then using the exact same measurements on every single strut. So these are 20 millimeter by 20 millimeter pieces of timber that are all cut to 390. Now, this piece works great on its own.
But our toilet needs to be attached to it.
In my sorrow of coming up with what I have done wrong, I have also thought about what I could have done to make it better and do it right. So next week, join us where we build
this whole thing
again from scratch.
Just a little sneak peek for next week.
YouTube, what I've done here is rendered up a little mock project of what I'm going to build perfectly next week. It may look like I spent all day trying to build this, but I didn't. What I did was I drew it out so I knew the exact measurements on the drawing, and then I just built a quick rough one just to have an idea of what I wanted. Yes, it may be 5 o'clock now, and we woke up at 7, but I really do think that the day was worth it, because now we know what it's sort of going to look like.
Yeah, so now we know what it's going to look like. Alright, see you next week with a fresh new episode, and hopefully we get something right next week. Bye! Well, there's only one thing left to do here.